what's going on? Legion Nuda here playing more RuneScape Dragonwilds. Welcome to our Daily Gaming XP Grind, episode 49. And today we're just going to be showing you a little bit behind the scenes. So we've gotten rid of almost all of our kilns. We're not quite sure how we want to go about working on this spot right here. But obviously we no longer need to really have that many kilns as we've got our artisan to 4 million XP. So I don't really think we need to be focusing on that quite as much. We are going to be working on cooking a little bit. And then once we actually start all these, we're going to be doing a XP update. So I think it's worth noting that obviously the more and more we progress through the game, we're going to have certain milestones checked off. So we're not going to have to focus on certain things as much. And obviously this is a great thing, as that's the whole point of Road to Max. So we actually have found a couple different places that we're going to be spending our time. And obviously this stuff's going to take a little bit of time. We probably really shouldn't have activated that cooking potion, but it's okay. So let's go ahead, and it looks like we need to repair our axe before we leave here, as we've actually been focusing on spending a lot more time in a different area. And the reason for this is that we want to get more resources for cooking. It's one of the skills that's going to be a lot more time consuming to level up. And so ultimately we've got to start progressing on that if we're going to get the goal complete. So we've cleared out so many trees in the Bramblemead Valley. Is that what it is? The letters covered up there. But anyway, in this area, we've just done a complete forest wipeout. So here, we're actually loading in so much faster. I don't really have a way to show you that progress. But before, I would sort of just be stuck in the air for quite some time. Now, why this is an important area to be focusing on while you're out here is because, one, there's a lot of trees, right? So you can make your own decisions based on whether or not you would want to completely destroy trees or not. But also, I guess it's worth noting that so you got lots of dwellberries out here, which are going to be great. You can use them for cooking, or you can just use them for food all by themselves. But we're trying to get cooking XP, so that's why we're focusing on picking those. And then, in regards to other things, lots of animals actually spawn out here, wolves and terrorbirds, and in large quantities, so you can actually get lots of cooking resources. Let's go ahead and do an XP update though really fast, because we said we would. So attack 275,000 XP. Wood cutting 906,000 XP. So we've definitely been working on this quite a bit behind the scenes. Construction 2,005,000 XP. Rune crafting 483,000 XP. Magic 68,496 XP. Definitely been working on this a lot while killing the terrorbirds and wolves out here. Mining 4,053,000 XP. And artisan 4,038,000 XP. And cooking 190,000 XP. So we've got loads of work to still do in a game, and then obviously new skills are going to be come to the game constantly and new content. So I think that once the new content comes to the game and the new skills, then obviously these daily gaming XP grind videos are going to start to really pick up in a different sort of way, because we're going to be able to really focus on a lot more different things in the game. But yeah, and the reason it used to take me so long to load into this area is this is so close to where I've got my Warhammer 40k castle, as well as pretty close to the Titanic, as well as other things that I built, whether it be the Lord of the Rings water barrel ride and things like that. So ultimately, you're obviously going to have lots of animals spawning out here, but I think a really large part of this is going to be the dwellberries. It might seem a little bit insignificant, but since it's so hard to actually level up cooking, every little bit that you can do. And there's even onions out here. And I don't think these are going to give crazy XP. But like I stated before, it takes so long to level up cooking. So I just think each little thing's going to benefit every time you sort of do something new with it. So just keep adding all the different things that you can to work on cooking. But obviously you're going to want to use all your abilities while cutting down these trees if your goal is to get rid of this forest here. I think I'll load in a lot faster in the surrounding areas. But for the most part, we're going to have a ridiculous amount of birds' nests, which is going to be great. Hopefully, they add seeds to the bird's nest because that's sort of the big plan there. I think that that is going to make all the difference if they do that. So that way I can get my farming level up. And I'm pretty sure that's going to be the plan. But there's obviously no way to know for sure. But we've already cut down so many trees out here. And you can clearly see here because you're obviously potentially in this same area in a game. And there's just tons of trees here. And now they're mostly gone. So that's definitely part of the plan. Reshaping our world. So that way we can load in a little bit faster. But yeah, it's pretty much what we're working on right now, and we're gonna keep progressing towards our goal. And I just am excited for range to come to the game and other new things too. Not even just specifically range, but I guess the potential dangers out here is if you were to get hunted, it definitely wouldn't be as bad as if you were in a storm-touched islands, right? Fractured plains are a little bit less dangerous, but I used to have a base out here. It was my primary base, and I'll tell you that it's still a very dangerous place. It doesn't matter that they're going to be a lower level. They're going to come in a group, and it's going to be a little bit difficult to take care of it. So just something to keep an eye out for. Ultimately, uh, there's actually some onions here. I don't know why I didn't see that. But once we go back to our base after we're done skilling a little bit, we can actually get all of our cooking XP. Uh, There's just a lot of animals right here. And normally we pick up cabbage and things like that. And I don't necessarily think that's going to be the best cooking XP. So I'm actually quite happy that we've decided to come here because I didn't quite realize how many animals did spawn between the wolves, terrorbirds, and then I think it's those deer, right? So these are all going to be great opportunities to get more resources for cooking. I actually don't see any of the creatures here right now, but they do spawn here quite a bit, so you just got to give it a second. It's it's quite crazy. There they go. So we got some wolves. They're spawning in. I just sort of want to get these trees away from here, so I don't really have to come back over this way anymore. Once I finish this, I hate leaving logs on the ground like this. These giant pieces of tree. It quite bothers me. And it's sort of like how I used to be with flax. It still bothers me a little bit, but I realize now that I don't need as much flax. And I've actually started to build a storage chest full of it, so it's not really that big of a deal anymore. There's a terror bird over there as well to the left. So this is going to be a great way to level up magic. And then we got some more dwellberries here, but ultimately, um, I don't think it's quite as threatening out here as long as you don't upset any Garu. You should, for the most part, be okay. But obviously, these are going to be great XP for leveling up magic or whatever attack style you decide to use, especially once range comes to the game. This will be a great opportunity to level up range while still working on your cooking. Um, Not directly, but getting the resources to level it. And as you can see here, more wolves have already started to come. So that's why I say this is a great place to actually get resources. Because it seems that when you're in the fractured plains, there's lots of different places that there's going to be animals, right? I think they're called the chimchompers. But ultimately, what you're going to find is that the Garu sort of scout those areas a lot more heavily. And it's going to create a lot more problems for you while trying to navigate the landscape of the game. So this is a great way to do it. You can see here we're blasting through them. And then we've got another terror bird in it. And then they've already spawned on the other side too. So as you can see here, it's excellent XP for magic, as well as getting a lot of cooking resources. So there's another terror bird. The only problem really is it seems like everything's so far from each other. That's my one complaint. It's like one, I mean, I guess, well, I don't know why only one terror bird spawned here, and then this sort of, it's just interesting. I guess you can't expect there to be a million of each creature just sitting in an area. I think it would be overpowered, but at the same time, I mean, obviously, it does take a little bit of time to run back and forth, and then your energy is depleted. But I think this is a great place to spend time. If you're wondering where we're at on the map, we're right here in the Fractured Plains, just above the Whispering Swamp. So if you want to come here and sort of spend time killing creatures and potentially cleaning out your forest in this area, there's some more birds over there, but they're actually quite close to the Garu, and I don't like those Garu. They're just a little bit difficult, but ultimately, I guess for the sake of needing more cooking resources, we are going to test the limits here and see if we can bring them over here. There's quite a bit of them, and I didn't realize I hit that one. But these guys can actually be a menace. If you see the way that they hit you, it's just like relentless. So it's important to make sure that you don't pull on too many of them, as it could be catastrophic for you. But this is how we basically got so much magic XP recently, as we've been focusing heavily on killing all the creatures out here so we can get more cooking materials. I plan to wipe out the whole forest over here, pretty much. I'm not sure where I'm going to keep trees yet, but I am going to keep trees. I just don't really know where that's going to be. I thought I killed him, so I went away. But ultimately, we're not quite sure where we want to keep trees, but we do want to keep some. And the reason for that is going to be that you can continue to cut them down and get birds' nests. But I think once I've completely wiped out the whole forest, I'll have quite a bit of birds' nests. But if that's how you're going to get seeds for farming, potentially even from picking plants, right? But I'm not sure. But I think it's important to remember to keep some trees, because if that's the only way to get bird seeds, maybe potentially also through Garu packs and Goblin packs. But if it is through birds' nests and you sort of get rid of all your trees, yes, Valhalla is going to bring more trees to the game, but there's a possibility that they might be a little bit more gapped and spaced. Because I think the reason that this area has so many trees is it's because the beginner stage in the game, right? So they obviously want to give you guys a lot to work on to level up the initial skill level. So I think that's going to be the reason for that. There's so many trees down we've got to get all together. But ultimately, the wolves have already spawned back in as well. So this just shows you why it's such a good place to get resources for cooking. This wolf seems to be a little bit stuck. There's another area too. You could come over here and also find animals. And it's just over this ridge right here. A lot of the time you're going to find wolves and birds and chinchompas. Right now it just seems that there's that deerish creature. I can't remember the name. But ultimately now there's no more creatures to kill, so we're just going to work on woodcutting a little bit. And I don't know, cannot wait for range to come to the game. But unfortunately, that's still quite a bit of ways away. I believe like a month. So this is terrible because he seems to be stuck. So I think we might be okay. But let's go ahead and kill him. And this is pretty much what you want to do. I mean, it's just a rinse and repeat method here. You're just going to sort of maybe potentially chop down trees and then kill the creatures. So that way you can get resources to work on your cooking. But I do think this is probably the best place I found in the game to find creatures to kill to actually work on cooking. These deer are so fast. It's crazy. I don't think we're going to get this guy. And he's jumping up on a mountain. He's actually going to come back this way. So maybe we can get him. Got him. That's good. So ultimately, there's lots of dwellberries as well, which I mentioned before. So you're going to want to focus on that. And let's go ahead and bust up some more trees. But I don't know. I mean, lots of stuff going to be coming to the game over time. And we've got lots of milestones to reach. All of it just takes time and a lot of behind the scenes effort. So, I mean, we've talked about it a little bit before. I hope you guys are enjoying your experience in RuneScape Dragonwilds. And I think it's actually quite crazy how good of a job they've done with the game. So, I mean, anything we haven't particularly liked or had issues with, they've actually been really good about addressing. So I think that's also really good too. I guess I forgot to cut down this stump. We don't want to leave it, as we don't want to have to come back for it. But I don't really see any other creatures that have spawned in. Sometimes you can actually sort of just go this way and then come back. And it looks like some terror birds already did spawn in since I went further over. Not when I initially showed you, but actually a little bit prior before that. So it looks like they already sort of spawned in. So I think that's important too. If you're trying to get creatures to come back, all you got to do is sort of leave the area that you're in, not too far, just far enough so the game, I guess, can sort of bring those creatures back, and then you'll have more to kill. But we get quite a bit of XP out here. I don't know where I killed that tear bird, and I don't know where the resources are that it dropped. Interesting. So we are going to try to work our way inward here. We don't like to really do this, as those Garu are here and they can kill you. So we are going to get rid of them because we want to sort of work our way this way with the trees. But obviously, as I stated before, it can be a little bit tricky because of the Garu. So we're going to go ahead and stir up a little bit of trouble here. And we're too far away, but we definitely don't want to be too close because they obviously hurt. And we got a second one. It looks like we did not aggro him, which is actually a really good thing. We want to sort of take them on individually if we can, because they're actually, they hit really hard. Especially with the leggings of lightness on, they're going to do a lot more damage because we're not really protecting ourselves. But obviously we want to be able to hold more weight, so it comes at a price, but you're obviously a lot less protected. Let's go ahead and go through here. We want to cut this. I think it's really important. You know, I've talked about it a little bit before. And when you first initially start the game, if you're a new player, how important it is to pick up resources as you go. It's going to cut down the time tremendously that you're going to have to go back later and do it. It's something I really wish I had done, and I didn't. And I just could imagine how differently things might look if I had done that to begin with. Obviously, I was more interested in the adventure and all the different things that were happening in the game and just sort of exploring. So I guess I don't really regret what I did, but it would have been nice if I did it a little bit differently. Obviously, the more and more time you spend exploring a game, look at all the wolves, then obviously you get the full experience of the game. But there's so many creatures out here. So this is really going to be a great place to get resources for cooking. And then also, if you wanted to, you could potentially add more lodestones so you could get some of the rune essence out here as well. But I just remember when I first started playing the game, I actually spent quite a bit of time here, but it was actually running for my life. It's a very dangerous place in the game when you don't really have good armor or when you don't necessarily have good weapons. So I think that's also important as well to sort of consider those things, to sort of set yourself up for success in this game. It's important. But let's go back this way. So we've left this area and now we're coming back in. Let's see if any other creatures have spawned back in. And it looks like there is a wolf here. So we're going to go ahead and kill him. There we go. So he's dead. And usually they hunt in packs. I don't really see any more on this side of the ridge. But I do see more here. So you can see it's basically potentially an endless supply of dwellberries, onions, and creatures to fight that are going to give you ingredients to work on your cooking, which is going to be important. You're also getting animal bones, I believe, when you kill the wolves, which is probably going to be very important in prayer. So I actually don't see bones. Let's see. Maybe you don't get bones. That's a little bit weird. I don't understand why you wouldn't. I guess you don't get bones. But I do believe with the tearbirds, you do get bones. I'm not 100% sure. But I can't believe he got away. Oh well. So we are going to go back to our base. And we are going to grab everything that we cooked. And then we are going to do another XP update. Really, I guess what we worked on the most is just going to be cooking. I can't believe he got away. Did he get away? I don't know if he did or not. I guess he did. But we really worked on the most was going to be wood cutting a little bit, magic, and then obviously going to be cooking here. And we're also gathering so many hides. It's actually quite crazy. We're going to show you our fur chest as it's building quite fast, but obviously it would be building a lot more faster if we were still killing sheep and ram. So let's see here. we've got quite a bit of logs. So you can see how fast all of our stuff is just building up by continuing to do this. So let's go ahead and drop all this in here. But you can see we've been putting in a lot of time to doing this. So let's go ahead and pop a cooking potion, and then we're going to collect all this stuff and then do an XP update. But most of our time, I think, really is spent behind the scenes. We obviously do quite a bit on screen, but ultimately, a lot of this stuff is happening behind the scenes, as it just takes incredible amounts of time. So 2,500 cooking XP. So we are going to go ahead and put this stuff in our food chest. This one's primarily mostly full. So let's see. We're actually going to take those out. Okay, so time for an XP update. We didn't work on attack, but it's 275,000 XP. Wood cutting, 910,000 XP. We're getting so close to our million goal. Construction, 2 million XP. Rune crafting, 483,000. Magic, 69,870. So close to 70,000. Mining, 4,053,000. Artisan, 4,038,000. And cooking, 192,892 XP. So slow, gradual progression. But I think that's just how it's going to have to come until more things come to the game. Because obviously, once more things come to the game, we're probably going to be getting better XP for different things. It's just going to take time. It seems kind of crazy. I think the game came out in like May, something like that. I could be a little bit wrong. But ultimately, December is when we truly get more content, which is so crazy. But anyway, thanks you guys for watching our content. And we're going to have another episode tomorrow. So thanks for watching. And until next time, Legion Dota out.